All right, back down at the AFCA E-Team sponsor the Budget Cut podcast, E-Team sponsor. Sean Connors here with the one and only, the social coordinator extraordinaire, Mr. Heath Pulver, special teams coordinator and tight ends coach at Eastern Washington University.
Thanks
Coach Pulver, pleasure to have you here, buddy.
I appreciate it, yeah.
Fresh off of the recent FCS National Championship game experience.
Yeah, I wish it could have gone a little bit better for us, but you live and learn, I suppose. Try to get better in those situations where you need to, clean up some. You feel like you probably had a chance to compete better, and you let some plays go. But
sure,
if you can control it, obviously we had some penalties that hurt us.
Yeah.
And so that's always going to probably sting.
Sure.
A little bit more than if it was like a blowout or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was close, and some of those penalties that one got called back a touchdown. So it's really. It hurts a little bit.
Yeah, there are a few. That was one of those games, I think, as any coach in the country that watched it probably watches and says, "Oh gosh, I've been in that situation." Tight ball game. The two best teams in the FCS level playing for a championship. Special teams played a huge role in that game. Some of the plays that were made on offense were ridiculous. Some of the defensive plays. That was one of the best college football games.
It was good,
Irregardless of the final outcome and score, it was one of the best college football games in a long time.
Well, shoot, I know the first half was a little bit of a chess match as far as like any championship game. You kind of expect that, I think.
Filling out period.
Yeah, and you've had some time to also prepare. So it's not like a normal game week where you go in and you have basically 4 days to get ready and you're playing together. You kind of have like a couple weeks. And so like a bowl game for our level, which is a little bit different for our kids. And some of our coaches have never been in a bowl game, but so it's like that. And so you really have like a long time to kind of work on your plan. And then kids go to Christmas and then come back, dial in on the plan and finalize a plan and see this look over and over, where in a normal game week you might get, if you're lucky and you schedule it right, you get, okay, this is this look and this trips or whatever it is, and you see it one time, and hopefully the player remembers it and can perform in that situation. But this is a little bit different. So I think that first half was a little bit that way, and then second half comes out and all hell breaks loose.
It turned into 4th of July, fireworks everywhere.
I know it, but So and then after that, kind of that settled. All right, let's get back to take a deep breath, and
everybody settled in a little bit.
And so we were, obviously, I think if they gave us more time, our kids would still be fighting and still be playing. I know that, and we wanted more time, and we just didn't get it.
Just ran out of it. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say let's stay on that topic in the game.
Yeah.
Who called the fake field goal?
Well, that's our head coach gives us the green light for that stuff, and it was his kind of conceptual baby, if you can. We both kind of, if he sees something on film, he'll say, hey, and then if I see something, then I'll, because he likes to carry fakes, and I think everyone does in a game plan.
Sure.
But obviously it's how many reps you get at it, and if you feel comfortable with it.
Beautifully executed.
It was. It worked out really
that was
good.
incredible. The timing of the shovel and the fake kick coming through at the same time. It almost looked like, at first, to just my blind eye, I thought he kicked the ball to the.
That would be something.
But I thought
that's probably an illegal.
I was going to say it wouldn't have probably counted as.
But,
wouldn't have counted as a.
Actually, if the ball doesn't cross the line and you kick it to a guy, actually probably still okay.
Probably okay behind the line.
Yeah, you probably
scrimmage?
advance it. Yeah, because it's behind the line of scrimmage, ball's behind, you scoop and score, or if you're an offense, you try to do.
That's true. Yeah.
So it probably could work, but.
That was incredible. That was awesome. The execution was unreal. How were the kids just losing their mind after that play?
Well, I think there were some guys coming up to kids that and after the play, because I think special teams are pretty important for our team, and so they were all like, in that moment right before half, it was huge, and really the one for me personally, that's a tight end that scored that, and I coached tight ends too, so I know he was really jacked up. But really, two other tight ends were kind of the lead blockers for that, and so it's cool. Funny too, because the holder's a QB, and it's his first touchdown, the registered touchdown,
touchdown pass. That's awesome.
So that was it was a good moment for those guys, and I think it provided a good spark going into half. But
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, I want to get into your journey, man, because you've got a heck of a story. Obviously met you for the first time at St. Mary's college football camp, which it's kind of funny here on the Budget Cut podcast by E-Team sponsor. We've had a few mentions already in our first handful of podcasts to that camp. It's a special place. I know we've had a lot of fun times there, but met you there, and I know that's kind of when your coaching journey was just getting started. And, so you spent some time at Cal. You had a good
cup of coffee, like I said.
Cup of coffee there. But prior to that, obviously, now at Eastern Washington. So kind of take us through the journey from University High School there in Spokane, and to now come full circle all the way back to Eastern Washington with the Go Eags.
Yeah, it's been a good process. Because I was a player just coming out of high school and went to a tiny little college, Eastern Oregon University, and had dreams and aspirations of playing football at the next level, and wasn't going to let anything stop me. And then my childhood growing up or whatever it was, I was by myself or made a lot of decisions myself. So went there, and then when it comes time to pay the next bill for school, probably didn't have the money for it, and no real idea what I was doing. So then I after a year playing there, I go back to Spokane and University, and I actually get a job. The coach there, Coach Gainey, lets me, coach running backs or whatever it was. And I think it might have been some special teams too. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure. And so then I'm there, and I get an opportunity through a kind of a Spokane friend. Coach Ty Gregorak was at the University of Montana, and so kind of the opportunity was like, hey, you come and be like a student assistant or a manager or whatever it was, like holding the bag, setting up cones. You're young and why not? And it seems like a great opportunity, and so it worked out great because I went there and started off that, and then next year I'm helping Coach Hauk with his special teams breakdowns and drawing up diagrams and all the stuff that young guys do. And when I look back on it, is actually I still kind of lean on some of that stuff from just like a fundamentals like breakdown and things like that. And then I get a job, or then I get an opportunity to go to Eastern Washington with Coach Bo Baldwin when he got the job there after Coach Wolf left to Washington State, and it, ended up being tight ends coach there, and we won the national championship there, and it was great experience. And I'm still single and still young. And then Coach McElwain, a former Eastern Washington coach, calls me and says, hey, do you want a job at Colorado State? I haven't hired a DC yet, but I'll hire you as a GA or whatever it was. And I said, yes, sir. And
see you there. I'm packing my bags as we speak.
And then it's easy when you don't have a family or children or anything. So, and you're young, and you can make pretty quick decisions. And in the coaching world, it's all about just like anything, who you know. And so if you build the deal on who you know, and you work hard for those people, doors open. And so that door opened because I worked with Coach Hammerschmidt at Montana and at the St. Mary's camps. So I think, whether it was a summer camp and working your tail off, for no money or whatever, and
room and board,
plenty of that, and so you work your tail off there, and you don't think anything of it. You just having fun, and you're coaching a high school camp, and that leads to a door opportunity to say, hey, can you be a GA or QC or whatever you want to label it here? And it's like, okay, So then I go there, and I'm there for a while, and Coach Mack leaves, and Coach Bobo comes in, and I remember telling my current wife at the time, my girlfriend, I said, I'm just going to keep working. And I just kept working. I stayed in the office over Christmas, over New Year's, just working, and then I don't think he was there for the decision to say, well, this guy's not here, so he just kept me, right?
He kept you on staff.
It was a hell of a deal, and so. But then I was there for a couple of years, and then Coach Baldwin went to Cal and had the opportunity to go out there and be his offensive QC, because I was doing special teams all at Colorado State. Worked with some great specialists, some good kids there, and so I went to Cal, and then it just worked out to where now I get a call from Coach Best, who's now the current coach of Eastern Washington, kind of a crazy world, and said, hey, do you want to be the SC coordinator? I said, I would love to do that. That's what I've always kind of wanted to do. And so now I've been doing that for 2 years, and I'm learning basically every single week. I feel like, you try to make a note here, and I could probably do that better. And everyone's trying to do that, no matter what job you're doing. But I'm always trying to be the best version of myself, and sometimes I can be better than some days. And,
as we all, right? We're constly a rough draft of our final version,
There's
right?
no doubt.
There you go, man. Every day. That's awesome, dude. That's great. I love your story. So let's talk a little bit more about your story. So why, right? We asked a lot of coaches, hey man, why'd you get into coaching? What is it about coaching that, what led you to maybe some of the experiences you had that led you to get into coaching?
Yeah. When I think about it in a big picture standpoint, I think that I don't think there's any other job out there where you build relationships with people that, I don't think, someone that works for the post office goes home and is like, that's my other family, like his job. He doesn't say that. And I think in football, maybe more than any other team sport, I know a lot of team sports, but there's so many people involved in football. Yeah. Whether it's the 105 guys in the locker room, or the staff of full-time coaches, and then helpers and athletic trainers and athletic staff. It's so big and so many people. I think you come home and you're like, well, that is my other family. And it always has been that way. And then if you go to a different place, you're like, you have a lifelong family member at a different university or a different high school. Yeah. I could always call you.
Sure.
And if I needed anything, like I was in your area, you would do it for me.
When you called me, when you got the gig at Cal, you said, hey man, I'm looking at places to live. Where should I look to live? And I said, you got to live in Walnut Creek, man. That's the spot.
And so I think, what I'm saying is that to me is what is really great about the sport. And, and then, you get to impact, you get to have a good, if you want to have a important impact on someone's life in their young age, and they're 18, when I didn't have it really. Yeah. Now you can, and you can try to, be the, you can try to help them. But I do think the family piece of it, especially if you don't come from a family. Yeah. I think that's, I think it's great. And it just makes you feel maybe a little bit more full. I know, yeah. Yeah. But yeah. Those relationships are huge.
Yeah, that's huge, man. And it's funny, we've been talking about this with coaches for the entire time we've been doing this podcast, is that it always comes back to relationships. A lot of guys say, the why I do this, because of relationships, whether it's, like you said, with the guys that they're peers, the guys they coach with, it's the student athletes they get to develop relationships and bonds with, and it's great, man. You're talking to some of these coaches, they've been doing it for 30, 40, 50 years, and they still have relationships with kids that were on the first team they ever coached. Yeah. And it's created that family bond, and it really is something. It's incredible. So what, you've been on the road, you've been recruiting. What's your recruiting territory, by the way?
I do like Utah and then like Oregon. Okay. So not Portland, but basically everything kind of down that freeway from there to basically
I-5 down. Yeah, so. Okay, got it. Good. All right. Yeah. In terms of on the road, what recruiting wise, I'm sure you've seen some great players at all your stops. Yeah. But who maybe some of the 2-3 top players you've seen with your own eyeballs?
Well, we had the one player at Eastern that was probably from your area.
Oh, is Taiwan. That Taiwan Jones? Is that a Deer Valley High School Wolverine shout out right there?
You talk about the craziest person ever, probably. Yeah. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
He
was a game changer.
In high school, his film's crazy. In college, his film's crazy. Yeah. And even the NFL. I mean, that guy literally can stop and start and play as fast as possible, unlike anyone else. And obviously that's why he's making money doing it, but his film was just off the charts.
Yeah, he was incredible. He literally had the highlight films that coaches go, you can't coach that. No. You don't coach any of that. That's just God-given.
And it was like, okay, you can play corner. He's playing corner. He was a scout running back. It's really great. Let's make him running back.
Yeah, let's put him on the other side of the ball. Give him the rock, man.
I mean, shoot. I think one of his first, his first play was like just a 90-yard run. I mean, just faster than everyone. and I mean he's a freak.
Yeah, he was a good one. How about any of the guys you've played against? So now coaching at different levels. Obviously, you've been at the Pac-12. You've been in the Colorado State WAC, right?
Mountain West.
Mountain West. Sorry, Mountain West. Now, obviously, in the Big Sky with Eastern Washington. Who are maybe some of the top guys that you've seen there just over your years?
Yeah, I mean, is obviously you go against a bunch of good guys. Boise always has. They always had top players as far as. I felt like a lot of good defensive players, and if you're a special teams guy, that's what I was at Colorado State. So you're always maybe trying to compare like long snappers and punters and kickers and returners and stuff like that. And I knew there's certain guys you didn't want to try to punt to, and it's usually a Boise State or a San Diego State. I mean that Penny guy, that San Diego State was a freak.
Yeah.
You didn't want to kick to him.
Yeah.
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 You're gonna if you hey.
You spend all week saying don't kick it to that guy.
Pin it on sideline. Or kick a touchback. I think if I can't really think of any names off the top. But those guys, certain teams always kind of seem to have certain explosive players, and then there's other teams that have great offensive and defensive linemen, that aren't really gonna. You see a lot on special teams when I was there, but no, man, and even at the Big Sky, I think you see. I mean, that wide receiver at UC Davis is a freak.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he
future NFL guy.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna get drafted, and he rightfully should. Yeah. But he comes out pregame, and you're like, ugh. This guy's a freak.
Where'd this guy come from?
And then he put pads on and runs very fast and catches everything.
Yeah.
Like any bad ball or any ball around in his vicinity, that guy catches.
Catch radius, unreal.
You could have you'd grade your DB a good grade, and he would make a catch.
He'd still make the catch.
You're like, there's nothing else he could do.
Yeah, sorry, that guy's a freak.
Yeah, but
that's great.
I mean, I think the competition that I've experienced. At Mountain West and Big Sky, I think year in and year out, there are going to be guys that, that are good players, and you're like, it's going to be a tight challenge.
Good
to go against those guys, and it's cool to watch in person. Yeah. Oh, that was crazy.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. So back to the real quick, circle back on the national championship game. What was it like being in a national championship game? And lead up to it, coming down here to Texas and being a part of that. I know you'd obviously been a part of one previously, but what was it like this go around? Yeah,
it was this go around. I would say maybe because I'm a little bit older and maybe more mature, and then I was also a coordinator, so it was more nerve wracking.
Yeah,
because you obviously want. I mean,
a little more responsibility.
Yeah, a little more responsibility as the ST guy, and in big games, everyone. I think some of the go-to things as well. It's going to come down to special teams, right?
Sure.
So then in the back of your mind, it's going to come down to special teams. Great.
Kicking game.
And so, if your plan's not there, all your buddies see it and they'll let you know. Or if something does work out great, they'll let you know. And so, I think it was this experience was great. I think they do a good job that Frisco area and NDSU, they have all the fans that you could think for, and then it's cool to see. I think Eastern kind of take a little bit more pride in just being ourselves, and so the guys that are there are like former players that just probably yelling as loud as they can, and family members like my wife and all the kids' families I see in the hotel, and they're spending a lot of money to come out on a short notice, because I think. If you're probably in this they probably already bought their tickets for next year, right?
Yeah, right.
they got
8 out of 9. They're just accustomed to.
So all our family and friends, they probably spending a bunch of money last minute, and it's more expensive, and so, it means maybe it's a little bit more to them, and I think from a pride level, but it was good, man, and you want to try to put together the best plan you can.
Sure.
And
what a great experience for your kids.
Yeah, and for the kids, and really, it's kind of sneaky way of also getting about 4 to 5 more weeks of work for your freshmen.
Yeah.
And they get to lift, and
it's like an extension of your spring practice, right?
Exactly. And they get to lift, and they get to eat, and then finals are done, so then it's just football, and so then they're doing more individual than they would do at home by themselves.
Sure.
Over winter break. So I think for our university, for our players, it's just a great benefit, and I think a lot of those players are like, listen, We know what it took to get here because we had really good player leadership from the seniors. We had a lot of seniors. And so those guys, the younger guys, I think kind of was like at the end of the game, it's like, well, gosh, they weren't better than us. And like, well, we can, so I think the light kind of clicked for some of these younger guys. They fed off the senior leadership. And now they're kind of like, they were already hungry, I think.
Yeah. They're ready to come back.
It was like they were already, they were like, it wasn't it's the end of the year. No, they were like, let's go to work on Monday.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Let's get back here.
That's
awesome.
So, and then they've been doing it since August.
Yeah.
And, school starts for us because we're quarters today.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, good, man. Well, so a little transition. So one of our company mantras is find a better way. For us, that's why we set out to build our fundraising platform was, hey, let's find a better way to fundraise, right? Yeah. For many coaches out there, they know fundraising is the F word, and because fundraising sucks. So we set out, and it's been a company mantra for us daily, find a better way. And I know for a lot of coaches, part of their why in terms of how they coach, or maybe part of their philosophy, is you got to find a better way, or find a way to get better every day, find a way to win better. Or
ironically, if you go into my office on my whiteboard, everything's erased except for find a way.
Find a way. I love it.
Find a way to make it happen.
I love it. I love it. So tell me, what's whether it's specifically with special teams, with you, what's your find a better way mantra? Or is there one maybe holistically with the football program there at Eastern Washington that you guys have in terms of what is find a better way, or what does find a way look like to you guys on a day-to-day or weekly basis?
Well, I do think, with our leadership with Coach Best and kind of the culture that's been there, it's that kind of what they've done. Right?
Sure.
Is find a way with, they're not the...
Do more with less, right?
Exactly, because they're not the bigger budgeted schools in the Big Sky.
Sure.
And so I think, that's kind of like, hey, listen, we're not going to try to wow you with any of this or that on your recruiting or anything like that. It's going to be, this is who we are. We're going to, this is who we're going to be. We're going to try to be the best of what we got. And if you want to be a part of that, we want you to. If you don't and you want that stuff, that's great.
Yeah.
But, so it can, I think that's how they've kind of gotten the culture that's been going on there.
That's awesome.
And Coach Best has been there the whole time, and he knows, he bleeds red probably more than anyone.
Yeah, he's an alum, right?
And it's awesome to see because there's no BS from him.
Sure.
Right. It is. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it is. Because that's what he wants to do. Because he is Eastern.
He's got the grit.
The old line guy.
Line guy, right?
And so he's great that way with the kids. Like it's not, hey, there's no pitch.
Sure.
It's just, hey, this is who I am. This is who we are.
Sure.
There's going to be
that's
challenges.
That's linemen, right?
Yeah.
It's like they're not wearing wristbands and visors, and they just look. They put on the shoulders and
crawling every day, bear crawling every day.
I love it. And
they just say, hey, this is, and I think. And his deal is like EKG, like Eastern kind of guy, and that's kind of a find a way. Like your guys' deal is, you're gonna be you guys are trying to give the best product that you have, with what you got, and to him, he's trying to put out the best players and the best product with what's given to him, and if he can try to make something happen or get a donation from someone to find more way to feed our guys after a lift, that's what he's going to try to do.
Sure.
And so I know like one of the first things he did was reach out to a bunch of guys and said, you're not going to be on the sideline, if you don't give some money. That's the thing. Like former player, come, sideline passes, like give some money.
Yeah.
And give some money because this
Support
is what I'm trying to do
here. Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to feed our guys, after a lift, and we have set that up, and now the administration is changed and things are going in every great direction, but that's what it has been for him, and that's what it continues to be.
I love it
for our kids too.
I love it, man. I love it. So one of the things we talk about is leaders or readers, right? You get out and read, or whether it's a hard cover book, or whether it's listening to things, audio tape in terms of podcasts, things like that. You're into reading? You got a book or anything that you've read recently?
My wife got me a book for Christmas.
Yeah, which
it was a Joe Rogan book.
Joe Rogan, okay.
Where she knows I listen to Rogan podcast.
Okay.
And so she got me the book that's talked about the most. I can't think of the title because I just got it, and But it's
now the season's over. You'll have some time to read it.
Something about philosophy and discipline on your life, and trying to obviously be better. But I listen to Rogan podcasts, and I try to listen to some things that kind of on my drive. So I a little bit of a drive to work, and if you get some recruiting calls done or whatever it might be, then I listen to a podcast.
Nice. What are you listening to? What's your go-to podcast?
Like Rogan, but sometimes I like to laugh, so then I'll listen to like The Fighter and the Kid. They're comedians, and so it's good. And sometimes I listen to the Big Sky Conference one, or guys at Skyline Sports. They do different interviews with coaches in the Big Sky, and I listen to that. Just try to I'm always trying to prepare. Like, if you're playing your high school or your college team, and there was an interview that you did, I'm going to try to find it. I'm going to try to listen to it.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can pull anything out of it,
to help myself.
There you go.
So
I'm
always trying to find.
I like it.
That way.
There's your find a better way, right? You're being resourceful. I love it. That's great. Yeah, it's interesting. We've talked to a lot of coaches that have been, hey, what book are you reading? We talked with Coach Burkett from UNLV prior to having you sit down today, and he talked about some of the books that he's been reading. We've talked to other coaches that have said, they've got certain podcasts that kind of are a go-to. And it's interesting. A lot of them are talking about things outside of football, and I think that as some have said, it goes without saying, you professionally are going to, hey, I want to make sure that I perfect my craft. And it's football so intensive just in terms of the amount of time and everything you guys spend and put into this thing. It's a 13-month-a-year job, that's for sure. And for it seems like for the reading component or the extra stuff, it's really disconnect time.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I also think that it's important to have to find a little relatability to kids.
It's a good one.
Because if I'm just football and I'm only talking to my kids about football and every single position meeting, which you're going to do naturally because that's part of it, but you can find something that maybe is a icebreaker or something that is shows you're a little bit human.
Sure.
And I think that helps too. Like,
well, and it comes back to what you said earlier, relationships, and I think that's what's so important. It's important in our business, it's important in your business as well. And I think a lot of coaches have talked about that. Relationships are so important. And what's the definition of a relationship? The state of being connected, right? Yeah. And so you've got to find those connection points. And so it's just been really interesting. Sometimes it's maybe more of a subconscious thing, but you hear guys here talking about, hey, we got to find places to connect, right? Well, relatability.
I mean, shoot, I'm probably one of the weirder guys out there when it comes to lots of different things, but special teams, everything's related to some form of fight, like whether it's boxing, whether it's MMA. And so every single end of every single meeting is a PDF or a picture on a cut up of someone getting hit in the face or some like some type of fighting reference, or even WWF. Like, some of our kids love that. And so a lot of names for plays are after fighters, and like,
love it.
Just some little thing like, hey, this is why this play is named this, and there's a picture of Rocky Balboa, or
that's not even subliminal. You're telling them, this is the why. This is why we're doing it. That's great. I love it.
You have to a little bit, I think, right?
I love it. Oh, you got to, man. You got to. So, having known you a little bit and spending some time with you at St. Mary's College football camp for a number of years.
I love football. I heart football.
I heart football.
Yes, that was the best T-shirts of all time.
That was a great T-shirt. It'd be a great hashtag if hashtags were around back then when that started. That would be amazing. So we had Coach Burkett on earlier from UNLV, and we were talking about what might get you through day 3 at a football camp if you were in the East Bay, or hey, if you're a coach and you're recruiting the East Bay. Maybe stop off at a little place called Bianca's. What's your sandwich order at Bianca's? What was your go-to?
It was I don't know the exact like that, because I know they have names for all the sandwiches. Actually, not only during football camp, but when I was at Cal, I actually would drive to Moraga to get a sandwich from there.
Wow, Coach!
And it's the turkey with the avocado, sourdough bread, with a little bit of bacon.
Yeah, a little bacon. You got to throw the bacon and avocado on there. It just
my wife would call it.
That's
the avocado would be healthy protein or healthy fats.
Healthy fats. There you go.
Because it's not protein. It's not healthy. It's fats.
It's fats.
She always reminds me. I think I always joke with her like, "Hey, this is healthy protein.
Bacon and avocado, good fats, no doubt, no doubt. That's awesome.
No, that place is great.
Well, what's your? So I know that you've frequented that one. Let's talk about a little Eastern Washington action. So up in Spokane, what's your coach? You got an hour to go grab a bite to eat. You can get off campus. Maybe it's on campus. I don't know. What's your go-to spot for a Sando?
Yeah, there's Cheney's a little tiny town, right? It's
yeah, sure.
Perfect little college town.
Yeah.
But I live in Spokane, as some other people do, and so that's right there. And
yeah.
But if you're on campus and you need a place to go, there's a place called Brucci's.
Brucci's?
Yep, Brucci's. Okay. And ironically,
sounds like a good Italian sub place.
It is. Well, it's cheesesteaks.
Oh, cheesesteaks, even better. Okay.
And so I actually used to manage one of those ones when I was coming back in transition when I was coaching at high school in the Spokane Valley Mall. Like with a guy I worked for in high school said he was opening one of them up, and he needed some help. So I actually worked there, coach high school football. I mean, crazy deal. But,
that's awesome. Yeah. So you're making cheesesteaks, and then after that, you're going
coaching
over
high school
and
kids.
coaching kids to pancake people.
Right. Yeah.
There you go. I love it. That's great, man. That is great. So we've been asking coaches what's their what's on their phone in terms of their music. Whether it's a playlist or they got their go-to set list pregame.
Absolutely.
What's Coach Pulver got?
Pregame.
Yeah, pregame. What's Coach Pulver listening to pregame? Either right into the stadium or right before. What do you got?
Well, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't have the iTunes set up on my phone.
Okay.
So I'm almost near buying the YouTube subscription because I listen to a lot of YouTube.
Okay.
And so I do like this version that the Metallica come out to their stage. It's the old what's that cowboy movie? Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
So they come out that scene and then they kind of dub it with some Metallica music.
Okay.
Kind of like, hey, listen, been doing that for a while.
I like that.
But then I'm
like an entrance song.
Yeah,
there you go. Okay.
I was like, hey, this is the last song you listen to, but kind of superstitious. So if we don't win on listening, then I can never listen to it again for the rest of the
year. Coaches aren't superstitious. What are you talking about? That's great. That's great. On the road, recruiting. Got a favorite spot that you like to get to in terms of food wise? It's a pit stop, get in, get a good meal. Anything on the road that you've seen?
I'm probably a pretty simple person, so I'm more of a 7-Eleven hot dog guy. I bet on the run.
I love it. I love it.
Hot dog and a Monster, right?
Hot dog and a Monster,
or Starbucks and a breakfast sandwich. Whatever
there you go.
It is.
I love it. I love it. That's great, man. That's great. So last question that I've got for you, in terms of You're coaching. You love obviously where you're at right now, and sure you see yourself hopefully there for a long time. But future wise, you're married now. Congratulations, by the way. I haven't seen you since you got married, man.
I know.
That's awesome.
It's been great for me and hopefully great for my wife.
That's awesome. I'm sure it is, man. I'm sure it is. You're a great dude. In terms of the future, man, what's the future hold for you? Where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years? What do you see yourself doing?
Well, I don't like to. I always get a little bit. Maybe not bugged, but I'm not a coach that's saying, hey, I'm trying to get to here. Or, purposely talk to people. It's not really my style, and maybe that will hurt me in the long run. But I feel like if you do a good job and you're a good person, I would like to think good karma comes, or people notice that and notice a product or whatever it is that would maybe ask you that they respect you, and as opposed to hey calling someone every time. It's not really who I am, but I'm happy. Money's not like a driving factor for me, I guess. Obviously it makes life easier as far as paying off bills and stuff, but if you can pay, I can pay my bills fine, and obviously my wife and I are saving for when we have a child or things like that, but so I'm not trying to seek out anywhere or do anything like that. I'm like I said, I'm still learning, and I put myself in situations sometimes mentally where it would be, all right, if I was going to interview for this job, or if I was there, like, could I do it? Yeah, can I do it? I think everyone has a little bit of that, and I feel like like to think that, I feel confident in myself that I can motivate, I can teach, I can work a roster. Because that special teams is, you have to use everyone, and sometimes now with the new freshman games, now you're throwing. Hey, your coach is saying that you got to use this running back or this corner that we're going to use 4 games out of them, and so I think a lot of it's finding the right spots for guys like that, and and then also if you find guys that you can motivate, that those are the key guys that are going to lay it on the line like week in week out. And you can sometimes I've been lucky, like whether I was at Colorado State with Coach Hammer or now at Eastern, like there's always been a guy or two that really kind of takes that role, and so it really helps your team. And so I'm not trying to say, hey, I want to get to wherever it's like
love the job that you got.
Yeah, I mean I got friends everywhere, and if something happens, well, probably a issue is all my friends are probably a lot of special teams guys, right?
Yeah.
So they're not going to say, hey, take my job, right?
Yeah, sure.
But no, I mean my wife and I shouldn't say my wife loves Spokane, but because she's from Tucson, so she likes sunshine.
Yeah.
And so our winters are a little different.
Yeah. Just a tad.
But we do have great family support, and
that's cool, man.
And so if we get to the point in our life where we want to reproduce and bring a child into the world, I think that's a good spot to do it, because it is a safe and good place to live. So
that's awesome, man. That's great.
I have no hurry to do anything. Just try to sign really good tight ends and really good specialists, and continue to try to get back to the national championship. So
that's awesome, man. That's great. Yeah. That's great. Well, good, dude. Well, down here at the AFCA in San Antonio, awesome to get you up here.
That was great.
Fired up to get you before you had to get back on the road.
Yeah, back on the plane.
That's probably been a long last week or so.
Yeah, I haven't been home in a while.
Yeah, it'd be good to get back up to the Pacific Northwest. Well, brother, it's great to see you, man. Thanks for coming by and sharing a few minutes with us.
Yeah, I hope your brother's doing good.
He's great. He's doing great. He's up in Dallas.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, he's up there now, and he's over at Braswell High School, and he's doing his thing, coaching football.
He's a great dude.
Teaching PE in 9th grade health. Well, thank you. He'll hear it, so he'll
know.
And
I miss him. I miss him.
Thing 1 and thing 2. Reunited in Texas. So,
I know. Good people,
Yeah, great guy, man.
That's what I think. That's where we get spoiled. Is for whatever reason I feel like I get spoiled, because I feel like I have great connections with a lot of nice people, and I feel lucky.
That's what it's all about, man. Yeah, it is.
It's like you guys. I mean, everyone in St. Mary's, and I mean that that's been a long time. And so
there's a lot of relationships that were built from some. The football's been a great vehicle for a lot of people to create.
Even the high school coaches that were there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, think
Coach
about
Franks.
It, right?
I mean, come on.
Yeah, Coach Franks at St. Mary's College or St. Mary's High School out in Stockton, and coaches that came from all over the place. I saw Brian Doyle, head coach at Cathedral Catholic down in San Diego. He's here this week at the AFCA, and got a chance to reconnect with him. And it's just awesome, man. This is
that's why I think
they
shouldn't try to get rid of the team camps, because that's where it's. But I know they got to do what they got to do, but. Yeah, that's huge. It's an important friendship deal.
It is. It's a sad deal that they got rid of those camps. Hopefully one day there'll be enough science behind it that shows that having those types of camps can still work.
I get why, but
Yep. Yeah, and I think all of us will. I know all of us in the coaching community will gladly get back on board with doing those things, because those were special. Those were great.
It brings together the high schools and then coaches that get a chance to.
That was a great deal, man. Yeah. Great deal. All right, brother. Well, hey, thanks for coming by and seeing us.
No, thank you.
All right, bud.